Welcome to the Cash Management Overview training video. The Cash Management module of the MultiSite suite provides an easy, efficient way to manage checks, deposits, and other bank account activity. The Cash Management module exchanges information with the General Ledger module in real time. In addition, vendors entered into the Accounts Payable module can be shared with Cash Management module. With the Cash Management module, users can do all of the following: view bank account activity in a familiar check register format, prepare and print manual checks and deposits, perform transfers between accounts, reconcile bank account statements, enter security deposit interest amounts, and generate and reprint reports. Let's have a short review of the main screen areas. This video assumes that you have a basic knowledge of MultiSite user interface. If you need more than this introduction, please see the video entitled MultiSite Overview. The main screen contains at least 7 distinct areas: menu bar, toolbar, sidebar, panel, main grid, and status bar. Now that the introductions are over, let's get started. The account list view enables you to view and print bank accounts. You can also manage some of the account information from the account list view. Specific instructions for each available task are provided in separate topics in the Cash Management Manual. Currently, we are already in the account list view. This view shows all bank accounts, and this view is currently unfiltered. You can optionally filter your bank accounts so that you don't have such a long list. To see more information, one of the items is the check register. I can take my mouse and I can click on a cell here, and that gives me focus. If you look at the bottom of the screen in the status bar, it says the first icon, the last icon I clicked was the account list. Bicycle Apartments is the name of the bank account. The name of the bank, the type is general fund, the account number, the period, etc., etc. Now I can see all of the checks in this bank account in the check register view by clicking on register icon. This shows all of the checks, and they're reverse sorted. The last check written right here was the April utility sub, check number 2951. Now notice below that, in the detail grid, it shows all of the detail items that went into this check. I can scroll up and down and see more. From this view, you can do almost anything with just one click. For example, right-click brings up the most common actions for this view. See the list here? Check, deposit, transfer, reconciliation. Register is grayed out because we are already in register view. Print check register, edit account, reprint check. Void check is grayed out because this is a cleared check. Change date, change description. Okay, let's write a check. We are still in the check register view. As you know, the right-click menu brings up the most commonly used actions that are available in a particular grid. I'm going to right-click, choose check. The check form's open. The cursor, indicated by the white box, everything else is colored or blue. If I knew the vendor ID, I would type it in here, but I don't, so I'm going to press enter. And just like in the Accounts Payable module, if you've had that training, a form comes up to search for a vendor. I'm going to type Brent, press enter, and I get a listing of all vendors that start with Brent. I'm going to double click on Brent's lawn mowing. Everything fills in that we know about Brent's lawn mowing. The date field now has focus. I can change the date or leave it as it is. It defaults to today's date. I'm going to press enter, and the cursor goes to the amount field. Let's say it's $100. I press enter again, and notice that the cursor jumps to the for field. And I'm going to type in here for lawn mowing. I press enter again. Now notice the grid fills up with 2 rows. First row is the credit. The default 1120 for this property is the cash account. It fills by default, and your cursor is now in the account field where we're going to enter in an account number. I could search for it by pressing F2, or I can just enter in 6541, which I know is a valid account, and I press write check. It says your current session period is for 2009. The global session period is for 2009. Do you want to post in this period? I'm going to say yes. Right at this point, if I wanted to post in the last period, I could say no, and it would come up and ask me which period do I want to post in, but I'm working in the right period, so I'm going to say yes. The check prints. We're ready to write another check, but I choose to close the form. The form closed, and we are back at the account register, and we also have focus on the last check we just wrote for lawn mowing. Now, let me go back into the check form, and let me show you a few more features that you need to know about. Remember the right-click menu? I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to choose Check. The check form's open. What I'm going to do is show you some options. You have Standard Check or Counter Check. A Standard Check is the default mode. That means that the next check you write will be assigned the next available number for that bank account. If you look over to the right, where right beside the date field, there's a number 2953. That is the next number that will be assigned to this check should we complete it and write it. However, if you have need for a counter check, you would select the counter check option, and then you would enter in your own check number or check number description. By default, every time you check counter check and you write a check, the option will go back immediately to standard check so that you don't make mistakes and write a bunch of counter checks without knowing it. The last two options, print check to screen and print check to printer. Most of the time you will want to print check to printer. However, if you're having trouble printing your check to your special check printer, or you want to change the printer that you want to check to, that you want to print the checks to, check the option print check to screen. The screen will come up. You will see the check, and then you can print it to a different printer. All right, that's all the options for this check form. I'm going to now hit the cancel button and close this check. All right, let's enter a deposit. I'm going to enter a deposit to record a bank charge. Whoops, my little finger got a little carried away. My own bank, of course. I charge $10 for a bank charge. I'm going to record it as a negative $10, so it will decrease my amount in my bank. The reason I'm using a deposit form to record a bank charge is that if I used a check, then the check charge would reissue it a number, and we don't want to issue a check number, and I don't want to go through the trouble of making a counter check. So I'm going to enter in a negative deposit. In the for, I'm going to type bank charges for April and press enter. Now the grid fills below just like before, and the account number for my bank charges is 6300. All I have to do is hit deposit and post or deposit and no post. I'm going to hit deposit and post. Post referring to the general ledger. Okay, I can hear you asking, why is there deposit and post and deposit and no post? Wouldn't you always want to deposit and post? Well, most of the time you would, unless you wanted to record a transaction that affected your cash as displayed in your check register. For example, some of you are going to want to have an Excel file to automatically upload every month a lot of reoccurring journal entries. Some of those journal entries are going to affect cash. Now, as you're going to find out when we go through the reconciling of the checks at the end of the month, you're going to find out that MultiSite records balances. MultiSite balances the general ledger cash account to the cash that's displayed in the check register. In short, you want to do a deposit and no post if those journal transactions have already hit the general ledger from some place other than writing a check or filling out an invoice. An example of that would be if you uploaded an Excel spreadsheet at the end of every month for your reoccurring entries. If you have any questions about this, just please ask your personal trainer when it comes time. Thanks. It says your current session period is for 2009. The global session is for 2009. Do you want to post this period? I'm going to say yes. You want to print this deposit? I'm going to say no because you guys can't see it. All right, we're back at the check register again, and we're showing the deposit for the bank charges there of negative $10. All right, let's say that on that last deposit we just made, I meant to put in a different date. I'm going to take my cursor and I'm going to put it in the date field, and then I'm going to right-click, change date. It says, are you sure you want to change the date? I'm going to say yes. This comes up and I'm going to put in like 07/17/2009. That'll be the day before, and I press enter. The date changed. Now the grid just redisplayed, and the check I was looking at is now up there. I can also change the description. Let's say I want to go up to this description, and I'm going to right-click, change description. Make sure you want to change it. Annual cash. I'm just going to put cash flow and press enter. The description is changed.